And now the Willow Tree, the second story in the adventures of Aiden. Don't ever be afraid to climb. Aiden was excited today. His mom and dad bought their first house. Aiden was as happy as a boy could be, yet sad too, because he would be leaving his friends. He felt much better when his dad explained they were only moving across town, and he would see to it that Aiden and his friends could visit one another after they were settled. Aiden loved his new home, especially its history. His new neighbor told his mom that the street they lived on was once an Indian path. Aiden could visualize Native Americans moving along the road hundreds of years ago. Aiden's room was on the second floor. He had two big windows overlooking the backyard, which had many interesting things to look at for the 8-year-old boy. There was even a pond with a cement dolphin squirting water out of its mouth. The fountain had water and green lily pads that protected small colorful fish, frogs, and a small green turtle. Aiden would spend many interesting hours exploring the pond and its wildlife. But the thing that really caught Aiden's attention was the huge willow tree that stood tall in the far right corner of the backyard. Aiden's dad said the willow tree must have been 200 years old, which was old enough for Native Americans to see when they were walking down the path. The most exciting thing about the willow tree was how big and tall it was. It took both Mom and Dad holding outstretched hands to barely reach around its big trunk, and it was at least 2 stories taller than the 2-story home. As the days went by, the family settled in. Aiden would notice how the willow tree would move when the wind picked up. It was almost like the great willow was dancing with its best friend, the wind, and having a great time. Suddenly, Aiden had a plan. It seemed like the only thing to do. He would climb the great willow tree and climb as close to the top as he could. The plan for the climb would be on a day when the willow's best friend, the wind, made a visit. The wind arrived on a Saturday morning. Aiden dressed in his best climbing outfit of a blue shirt, shorts, and his favorite sneakers to give him a firm grip. He packed a piece of old rope, and it was time to climb. The large vines around the huge trunk of the willow tree made the first stage of the climb easy. As Aiden reached the first branch, he stopped to catch his breath and look around. He found a completely different world. The willow tree's long, stringy leaves covered him like a canopy. No one on the ground could see him. The willow's neighbors surprised him. A bird and squirrel's nest were higher above. He started climbing up the willow. Each branch above the next seemed a perfect distance for Aiden's reach. Aiden finally reached the top of the willow's last branch that would dare to hold his weight, and now the real fun began. The wind picked up and the great willow began its dance with the wind. Aiden was thrilled. The willow leaned and swayed in a variety of tremendous and surprising motions. Aiden's imagination raced away. He was a jet fighter pilot, a monkey looking at the jungle, and a Native American scout. The ideas and enjoyment from this new world high in the sky had endless possibilities. Suddenly he heard his mother's voice far below in the yard calling him for lunch. Enough for today, Aiden the adventurer thought, and was able to move down the great willow without the slightest problem. Indeed, the willow tree was meant to be climbed. The willow tree was his personal staircase to the sky. Mom's lunches were always best, and Aiden had worked up a real good appetite. There were many more trips to the top of the great willow tree in the coming years, and all a special place and his memories forever. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story of the Willow. Till next time.